Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So today we're going to be doing a full review on the Pantonma by KAIDENG. Now this one's kind of interesting. It's a very radical new look from KAIDENG, and they've had a few quadcopters in the past that have done okay. I'm expecting this one to be better. So what I'm going to be doing is doing a full unbox, inspection, setup, flight test, full-on flight test. We'll go to the park, do some possible indoor flying, see how that works. And then we'll do a pros and cons. So you're going to get the full review treatment on this one. If you want more information on this, like always, I'll have the link down in the description below the video down there. So you can go ahead and click that link, check the current pricing, and see more about it if you're interested in it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and unbox this thing. This one's supposed to have a lot of cool features. Just in the top of the box with the quad here, it looks like we already have our FPV screen. And it should be one of those spring-loaded screens. There we go. With a little bit of a screen guard. So I'm just going to peel this screen guard off real quick. And we have a nice flat, matte black finish screen there. And it looks like we've got like a, yeah, so there's a lithium polymer battery there already plugged in. Our power off and on switch and a plug in there for charging. So cool, there's the FPV, and here's the quad itself. So interesting looking quad. I got like the teal version of it. This does feel like a brushed quad, so this is not any kind of brushless. This is like a toy grade. It does look like it's going to be very durable. I'm twisting the arms and they're flexing instead of cracking and breaking. I'm seeing some LED light cups on the bottom here. You can see those there. And anyway, that's the quad. Kind of neat looking. Got some venting on the top. There's our power button on the very top there. We're gonna have to see what the battery looks like. That's kind of interesting. It's just hollow pretty much all the way through. Cool, so let's go ahead and unbox the rest of this stuff and see what we get. So little mid-tier blocker there, getting us into the bottom of the box. Here's the instruction manual. I'm just gonna take everything out and then we'll go ahead and set everything up and see what we got. So propeller guards. Looks like some other stuff. Wow, so they're giving you a lot of stuff in here. That's pretty amazing. Extra propellers. We've got all these little attachments here. That's a battery. This looks like a Wi-Fi camera module. Another Wi-Fi camera module. Are they supposed to give me two? A regular camera module. Another Wi-Fi camera module. Wow, so I got a bunch of camera modules. And here's the controller. Look at that thing, that's neat. And that's everything in the box. Cool. I'm seeing, it looks like maybe mistakenly they put two camera modules in my box that are 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. You can see how the antenna is a little longer here. This one is another camera module, but this one has a shorter antenna, which tells me that one is a 5.8 gigahertz, which would be working with this screen here. So 5.8 gigahertz working with that screen here. This one here, these are going to be working with like a cell phone, which we could be putting in there. So pretty neat how they're giving you all these different options in the box. Maybe I'm just getting everything because this is a review model I was sent, but I'm not sure. There's the battery there. Not sure what size of battery this is. I can't really see it clearly on the outside, but it looks like maybe around 600 milliamp hour on this battery, just by the size of it, maybe 5 or 6. And that's interesting because there's actually a charge port on the side of the battery, which is the same kind of plug as the plug that was in the FPV monitor I showed you guys just a little while ago. So pretty cool. And it looks like, yeah, that's going to charge the battery and the FPV monitor because they're only giving you this USB charger with that same kind of connector in the package. So that's convenient. So one charger does it all. They give you a USB drive, micro SD card with 4 gigabyte on board. So you can go ahead and offload your videos onto this thumb drive here and watch them on your computer. Extra set of propellers, so that's great. Got you covered there. There's a screwdriver in there with the charger. Here's your propeller guards. So let's see how these things go on. It looks to me like they're just easily pushing on like this. Okay, cool. So it looks pretty simple. There's just a couple of prongs there on the bottom of the propeller guards, and you're just kind of matching them up into the holes where the propeller guards go. Go ahead and take out that screw. Propeller guards will push down in and then screw in that screw on the other side of the propeller guard. to mount all those up. So if you're a beginner flyer, you know, go ahead and put these on, save you some headache of messed up propellers or hurting people. If you're a little bit better at flying, you'll definitely get more flight time and less wind resistance, which will give you a little bit better of a flight experience if you leave them off. Anyway, battery. So the battery goes in the back. See how that just slides in there, pushing in, and it actually pushes in really nice. Looks like it's doing a good job at pushing in. Pulling out's a little bit harder. Oh, actually, you need to be pushing this in to pull it out. So I just jammed it out, but you need to push this down and it will pull out a lot better. So I'm probably going to be using just the 5.8 probably for now. Not too sure. Here's the 5.8. We'll see how it goes, but anyway, here's how you put these things in. So pretty self-explanatory, just pushing it in the camera hole there, and then pushing the camera all the way back in until it snaps. And this is kind of interesting. Listen to that. So it sounds like the camera has some gearing in there. So look at the extent of the camera. So it can go all the way down to above forward. So that's great. And then if you want to, you know, you could just leave your FPV hanging down like this, your antenna. If you wanted to make it a little nicer, you can just go ahead and snap it in like this. So on the bottom, I'm seeing one more thing here. This is interesting. You see how I'm pushing this up? It's a little cover. And it looks like it's a cover for some other kind of peripheral. Not really sure what that other peripheral is at this point. Maybe somebody else knows what that's for, but it's not really clear to me at this point what it is. Maybe it should say in the instructions possibly. But it's just a little kind of cover there. Anyway, I'm going to set this on the side. We got the battery in, we got the camera I'm going to be using in there. Check out the controller. So they've set it up where you can just slide this thing in or slide in your cell phone of choice. So hopefully you can put this thing in. Maybe it's going to be too bulky. Oh no, okay. So it looks like it's a spring-loaded deal. So you see that expansion? Wow. So you can fit a giant tablet in here if you wanted to. That's pretty cool. Or if you want to use the 2.4 gigahertz module, pop in your cell phone. Look at that. And it grips in a little better because where the cell phone's hitting the notch, there's more grip on it. So that's going to be for the 2.4 gigahertz. So pretty cool. Cool, so let's go ahead and just delve into the instruction manual real quick just to see what all the controls do before we fly. So I'm loving how they're labeling these trigger buttons. So return to home, pictures and video, depending on if you're pressing and holding it here on this one. Up here we've got our speed, so rates of flight here. Let me get a little focus on that. So we've got, looks like possibly 3 rates of flight, and then we have a launching and landing button. This is going to be our trim for our yaw, so roll and pitch trim, power for the controller. There's another camera button, so this is going to be the camera tilting up and down, it looks like, so that's great. This one here, it has like a 360 on it, so that's either going to be our flipping or maybe a headless mode. This one here also has like an H with something on here, so maybe that's going to be our headless mode and then turning off and on the lights. So this one's probably going to be flipping, and that's pretty much it. I love it when they label the buttons so I don't have to like keep referencing the manual when I'm trying to do flight tests, so that's awesome. Anyway guys, I think that's about it for the instructions. If you do want to use the Wi-Fi version with like your phone or tablet, you just have to go to the App Store, Android or Apple, and go ahead and download the Pantonma, I don't even know how you say that, and you should be able to link up to your phone or your tablet via one of the Wi-Fi modules. But I'm just going to be going ahead and using, if you had a choice, you might as well use this because this will give you less latency and you should have a better, longer range when you use 5.8 gigahertz. So I'm just going to be using this for this review and seeing how this one does. Then you're probably wondering, how the heck do we charge the controller? What are the batteries in the controller? Check this out. So using that same kind of charger adapter that came in, we can use the same charger for all 3 peripherals. So that's great. It has right there is where we plug in. It's got some kind of built-in lithium polymer battery probably. So screen, controller, and the quad all have the same way to charge the battery. That's great. That's what I'm looking for. Really think so far this thing looks really awesome. for a beginner drone flyer to get into it. You've got all this stuff here. I'm really hoping this thing flies good, because at this point I'm giving it 2 thumbs up right now before I even fly it. So let's go charge this stuff up, get out there and fly this thing. Okay guys, excited to do this flight test. So we're going to do one in the house of the Pantonma, not sure exactly how to say it, but anyway, this has the 5.8 gigahertz. I'm going to put the 5.8 gigahertz module in there, and don't forget this has the SD card that you pop into the module before you put it into the craft, like so. So we're going to do a quick little house flight, go through some of the functions in like no wind if you did want to fly it around your house, just to give you an idea how this thing flies. And then we'll go out to the park and do some range testing and really kind of open this thing up and see how it does. When you slide the battery in, it does not power on, so that's good. We have to press that button for it to power on, so we'll do that right now. Pressing it once does nothing, so you have to press and hold. And listen to that. So the camera just did kind of a self-check, it sounded like. And now the lights are blinking. I'm going to turn on the controller. You just click and it pushes down and holds in there, and now the controller's blinking red. Up and down with the stick one time, and now the controller is solid red, and the lights on the quad are now solid. They were blinking before. And look at those lights. So that's great. Great, nice illumination, side, back, bottom, front, highly visible lights, and the white arms also allow it to shine through a little bit from the top. So great lighting orientation on this thing, and then we're just powering on just like that. So voila, immediately we have FPV. That's great. And let's see if we can rotate the camera before we fly off. So I'm seeing camera controls on the left here. Cool. So that looks like it's maximum upwards angle. You can see how it won't go any farther up. And then we can go down. So it's got like, you know, little notches, but 1, 2, so it's got like 3, you know, versions of orientation, pitch orientation on the camera. So far so good. Cool. So let's go ahead and start recording to that SD card on the craft, and let's see if I can remember how to do that. Taking a photo, one time clicking. I'm seeing the screen flash, so that should be a photo saved. I'll have those popping up on the screen. And if we wanted to take a video, let's see, looks like we're going to click and hold this because it's only a 1 button press. So click and hold. I hear 2 beeps, and look at that. So we have video time ticking away there on the bottom of the screen in red. So we are recording. Let's go ahead and lift off. Can't do anything with the controller with the left stick, but we can hopefully lift off by just pressing a button here, and it's nicely labeled again, launch and landing. So I'm pressing it once, not touching anything. It's not going to lift off, so I'm going to need to, let's see if we press that again. Okay, so it disarms the motor, so that's great. One for arming, one for disarming or landing. It looks like you have to take off by pushing up the throttle once you arm. So we'll arm, push up on the throttle. Whoa, it started to kind of come this way on initial acceleration, but it is leveled off now. And that is stable. Holy smokes. There's no wind in here, and look at this thing hover. Drifting just a little now to the right, but that is an excellent hover out of the box, no calibration whatsoever. Let's see what our yaw rate is. So yawing to the left, that's our full yaw in this rate. Looks like it is doing a little bit of a wander while it yaws, just a little. That's not bad. Let's see how this thing punches. So this is altitude hold, by the way, don't forget. So I'm, you know, just touching the stick a little bit to adjust its position in the air. And we can see that that altitude hold is pretty good. It's only varying like maybe a foot occasionally. That's really good. Let's try a punch test up to the roof. So from a hover to a full throttle up. A little slow on acceleration, but it did seem like it was gaining some momentum the longer I held it. That's okay though, it is an altitude hold quad, so most of them are like that, where they have a slower acceleration. And I'm pleasantly surprised right now at how well this thing, I'm pushing up the stick a little, I want to get it eye level. Whoa, is that already low level blinking lights for low voltage? I just charged the battery, so that's not good if it is. Anyway, those lights are blinking and my video just stopped. Let's see what it does. Alright, so full roll, or full pitch. Very slow in rate 1, and full roll. Let's go ahead and go into a higher speed while we're yawing. So pressing the speed button here, 2 and 3, they all get faster in the yaw rate. And let's see what 2 is. Yep. So the pitch is a little higher pitch, give us a little faster flying, and let's see what rate 3 is on the pitch. Full forward on pitch, and I'm going to switch into rate 3. Yep, a few more degrees of pitch. That's maximum pitch and roll there. This thing does look very cool, and it does fly very well in the house here. I'm just kind of worried about those lights already flashing. It did shut off my camera. Oh, now it's landing on its own. Wow, that's unfortunate. That was only like maybe a minute or so of a flight. Yikes. So maybe we found kind of a weak point in this quad was the battery. Bummer, man. Well, let me go ahead and give it another chance. Let me see if we can rearm even though the battery's low. Maybe it's giving us a wrong reading. No, so I can't even rearm because the battery is in its low voltage state. So at least we know it will shut itself off without ruining the battery, but it seems like maybe the battery's already ruined. Anyway, regardless guys, I'm going to give this thing a second chance because I was really liking this thing up until I saw that flashing right away. Let's go ahead and pop this battery out. Let me feel how hot this thing is. Pretty darn hot. I don't know, maybe it's a little overloaded with all this tech on there for it, being how small the battery is. But let me give it another chance. I'm going to go ahead and recharge this battery up. That was only 3.5 minutes about, and that's kind of unacceptable for a quad this size, you know. This is getting into like, you know, SEMA mini quad size, and those can fly for a good 8 minutes, you know, 7 to 10 minutes depending on if you're recording and all that stuff. Anyway, regardless, we'll go ahead and recharge this battery, and get out to the park, do our flight test, and pros and cons. Cool, let's get out there and fly. Alright guys, so I'm here at the park with the Pantonma, and we're going to do a quick little park flight. Kind of went through over all of the functions in the house, but I still want to go ahead and do just a quick little park flight. Just going to do it kind of fast because I know this thing, maybe it's just a battery, or maybe this is just how short this one flies for, but I'm only getting like 3.5 minutes of flight time on this, so just want to quickly launch it, go out there, do like a range test over here. They just mowed the park, so there's a little bit of grass cuttings here, but I'm getting some wind from the west actually coming this direction, and it's gusting at like maybe 5 to 10, so it might be a little windy at times, but let's see how this thing does regardless. I'm using this cool launch pad. I got this recently, and this is a great little launch pad. It comes with these little stakes, and you can stake it in if there's a little bit of wind. I mainly use it for something like the Mavic, but I'm also using it for all my little other drones too that I review, so great little investment here. I think it's only like 10-20 bucks. I'll have a link to this too in the description if you guys wanted to check that out. Anyway, let's go ahead and launch this thing. So I'm going to start recording the video, just pressing and holding here. Alright, so we are recording, and that should be a good timer as well. So let's go ahead and launch this thing. Pressing launch. I'm going to go into rate 3 right away, push up to launch, and first thing I want to do is just get up here, get some height, get a little bit of height, and then maybe do a camera tilt down. So I'm up here and I want to tilt the camera all the way down. Let's see if we can get right above us. Yeah, there we are.
Looks like we already lost a little bit of connection on the FPV. Anyway, okay, cool. So camera back up, should be recording here. Now let's go ahead and just see how far this thing can go. Boy, it felt like I was already losing. Yeah, I'm already losing connection. Oh my gosh. So real short range on this thing. That's only about, gosh, I want to say like 75 feet in that direction. I don't want to really go any further than that because I'm noticing dropouts in the control even though I'm holding it up like this. At that range though, the FPV, you probably can't see it in this monitor, but I can. At that range, the FPV is still a-okay, perfect. So you know what? Pretty short range on this one. Unfortunately, it's a great little flyer, but the range definitely limited. I'm gonna turn off the lights just so we get a little bit more power, and that was by that light button there. Anyway, I'm in rate 3. Let's just go fly this around kind of as fast as we can. I got some wind coming from this direction here. Now this is full stick forward. Now remember, this thing does have altitude hold, so I'm not going to touch the altitude right now. I'm just going to let it fly. It looks like the wind is pushing it down a bit. I'm not touching the altitude, just the yaw. And if I do push forward into the wind, it will push it down, but look, see how it's going back up? So not bad. Even a little bit close to me, I'm noticing the controls aren't completely precision at times. So just something to keep in mind. I'm still not touching the altitude. Let's just go ahead and fly it around super quick since we already did our range test. Woo! Started to drop a little bit. I'm full stick forward here. Almost hitting the ground there because we're going into the wind. Let's see if we go with the wind. It'll also drop a bit. You know, and this is maybe 5-mile-per-hour winds right now. I'm full throttle up and just, whoa. For a moment there, it was kind of yawing to the left on its own. A little bit weird. I'm already seeing some flashing lights. And look at that, it's already gonna want to land itself, it looks like. It looks like there's our flight time. It does seem like in rate 3, seems like the yaw is a little bit laggy. Not as good as I would have thought. So, you know, pretty toyish for this one. It definitely looks cool and it does a lot of features. It has a lot of features, but unfortunately that flight time and the range isn't so great. And you know, I'm in an open park here, so there's nothing blocking the range. Cool. Still flies good. Those lights have been flashing for a bit. Let's try to do like a return to home since I did launch in this direction. Nope. I'm just going to land because it's out of power. Didn't get to do it to return to home, but I think we did that in the house and you're able to see how that performed. So that's going to be it for the Pantonma. I was expecting a little more for this one, just to be honest here. It's cool that it does give you all those options. You know, we had 3 different modules we could put in here for, you know, just the camera. We had Wi-Fi for a phone, and we also have the 5.8 module here. They only gave 1 battery for some reason, and if this thing only has that 3 to 4 minutes of flight time, you know, that's not a very good battery life. The good thing is it looks like it stopped recording when it did land, self-land in the low voltage on the battery. So that's a good thing. So hopefully that saved that video, and I will be taking out this card and including the video that I just took in the park and at the house, so you guys can see you know, how good that video was. So a little pros and cons here. You know, I think you could pretty much see everything in the video, but we'll just kind of revamp a little pros and cons that I found in the park and the battery is the main con here. So battery for me only lasted 3.5-4 minutes, and that's really not enough flight time for a larger craft like this. So I'm assuming something may be wrong with the battery. Again, I haven't watched any other reviews, but maybe it is just a defective battery. If it's not, that's too short of a flight time for a craft this size. You know, 3 to 4 minutes is not enough time, especially with the FPV and to be able to record video and stuff. And then the other con here was the range was not that great. It was only 75 feet until I was holding the controller up like this, and it really was starting to lose connection, and I wasn't really able to control it. So I had to lift it up and then bring it back. Other than that, it did fly pretty good. A little bit of lag in the yaw, it seemed, here in the park. Maybe that's just the wind. So again, it tries to do a lot of things, but unfortunately it's just lacking in a couple of things that kind of hold it back a little bit. Anyway, regardless, guys, that was the review of the Pantonma, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I will have this down in the description, remember, in a link, so you can check this out, check the current pricing, and check more specs on what it's about. And I do a lot of reviews like this, so check out my channel. I think you'll like it, and subscribe if you can. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.